Curve sketching. This is one of those things that will earn you quite a lot of marks if you know how to do it properly. And obviously the opposite is true. If you don't like it very much, it's just going to be a bit costly. So what I recommend is making this one of those things that you're always very comfortable with. With curve sketching, right? In our case, we're referring to sketching a cubic graph. Whenever you are asked to sketch a cubic graph, so say here we have f of x, right? F of x is equal to x cubed minus x squared minus x plus 10. This is just like a basic cubic graph. So with this basic cubic graph, if they want us to sketch this graph, a question like this could easily be 7 marks, 6 maybe, 8 would be overkill, but I would say a rough average is like 7. 6 is also a bit common. So if they want us to sketch any curve, we want to keep in mind that if you're given the full equation, anytime you need to sketch a curve, you need to keep in mind two major things, right? And those two things are your intercepts and your stationary points. So we already mentioned that we have basically 3 stationary points, if you can put it that way. We have our turning points, and then we have our point of inflection. 2 turning points and then 1 point of inflection. So we basically have 3 stationary points. And then intercepts, we know we have 2. We have the x-intercept and the y-intercept. So whenever you need to sketch a curve, right, always remember that you just need to get these 2 things, right? As long as you get those 2 sets of those 2 pieces of information, you will easily be able to sketch your graph. So in our case, we are basically going to need to work on how to get our turning points and how to get our point of inflection. So with these 2 pieces of information, right, our turning points and our point of inflection. Firstly, being able to get your turning points is a big game changer in the sense that it's one of those simple things that over time, I don't know, most people struggle with it, but you don't have to struggle with that because it's quite simple. So whenever you need to get turning points, this is one key thing you always want to remember, right, about all cubic graphs or about turning points in general, right? So when we refer to turning points, we know that we're talking about the value up there and the value down there. So the one key thing about all turning points is that the gradient at all turning points will always be equal to 0. So if you remember from the past few tutorials on differential calculus, we mentioned that anytime you see this symbol, this means gradient. One big thing is anytime you hear turning points, think gradient. Apart from you just thinking gradient, you want to keep in mind that the gradient at all turning points is equal to 0. Anytime you hear turning points, you want to remember that the gradient there is equal to 0. So it's automatically a piece of information that is always given whenever they mention something about a turning point. It is a piece of information that you always need to use. So when we need to sketch a curve, we need to get stationary points. Us getting stationary points, it means we need to get our turning points first. Us getting our turning points, it means we need to remember that at our turning points, the gradient is equal to 0. When we have remembered that portion of our work, we want to keep in mind that firstly, in our equation, right, we know that we're given the equation of a normal cubic graph. This here is a coordinate graph or coordinate equation. It will just sketch the graph. However, what we need to do to get our turning points is we firstly need to get the gradient equation of this graph, right? After getting the gradient equation of this graph, we are then going to work out the x values where the gradient is a 0, right? So firstly, let's get the gradient of this graph, right? The gradient equation of this graph, so that we can find out what is the x value there and what is the x value there, because for us to find out what the x value is on these 2 turning points, all we will need is the gradient at those points, right? So all this will make sense in a second, right? So for now, let's get our gradient equation of our cubic graph. So we now have here the gradient equation of our cubic graph. If you're not familiar with differentiation or differential calculus, or if you don't know how to differentiate, there is a playlist on that, so you can quickly go through that if you want. However, so we know that with turning points, we need to have a gradient equation first of our graph. Once we have our gradient equation, we want to make this symbol equal to 0 so that we can work out the x values where that gradient is occurring, right? We already mentioned that whenever you work with an equation, you want to keep in mind you need to be able to use it from left to right and also from right to left, in the sense that if you're given gradient, you need to be able to get x. If you're given x, you need to be able to get gradient. And in our case, we need turning points. And turning points means we need y and x values of this point over there and that point over there, right? So for us to get those two coordinates, we first need to get x values for those points. And us getting the x values of those points, we're going to use our differentiated equation. Because in our differentiated equation, we already know that at these points here, the gradient is a 0. So we're going to throw in 0 there so that we find out what the x values are at those 2 points. So this is just a normal equation, right? Don't worry about how this is a quadratic equation. Just keep in mind it is the differentiated equation of our cubic graph, and this is going to give us its gradient. If we have x, it's going to give us x if we have its gradient. We have gradient because the gradient at the turning point is a 0. And you can see how I'm trying to say that over and over again so that it sticks, that gradient and turning point is equal to 0. So in our case, gradient is a 0. So what we have now found out is that our two x-intercepts, one of them is -1/3 and then the other one is +1. So in terms of us getting our turning points, we know that we are halfway there because we now have the x values of our coordinates. And remember, as long as we have the x values of our coordinates, if we want to find the y values there, we can use our original equation. Because remember, this equation here, if you give it x, it'll give you y. This equation here, if you give it x, it'll give you gradient. And if you give it gradient, it'll give you x. So just be able to, again, juggle equations. If you have one piece of information, you can get the other. Don't always think that you are only able to use an equation if you have x. No, an equation works both ways. So in our case, we have x values of our turning points. To get the corresponding y values, we need an equation that can get us y. And that's that. This is that equation, right? So these are our two y values. We got these y values by subbing in our x values into our main equation, because this main equation gives us y if you give it x. So we threw 1 into our equation. This is telling us that where x is a 1, the y value is a 9. This is telling us where x is a -1/3, the y value is 10 and 5/27. So we know that this is a coordinate on its own, right? 1, coordinate 9. This is also a coordinate -3, coordinate 10, 5/27. So we have our turning points of our cubic graph. This is mainly like a dummy image, which you always want to have whenever you need to sketch a graph. Because whenever you need to sketch a graph, you also need to be able to visualize what you're working towards. So in our case, we at least now have our two turning points, right? We have the one turning point and the other one. So we're just going to keep those in mind for now, for when we will eventually have to sketch the picture. So we have basically gone through one tiny portion of our curve sketching scenario, right? We've gotten our turning points.